Good morning, afternoon, and evening. I'm Rafael Renteria, and this is The Aspect, where I go over news in VR, AR, and virtual tours. I apologize for taking so long to put out another episode. I've been having to deal with some health issues for the past couple months, but that was a blessing in disguise because as I was down and wasn't able to make videos, a lot has unfolded in our industry that I'm glad I can combine into this one video. I've got some interesting news on Matterport as they make some changes to their staff and availability of their software. So we're going to go over why those changes happened and how it's going to affect the industry. I really appreciate you stopping by. Let's do this. So this is relatively old news, but in early December, Pittman, former eBay exec, was chosen to be the CEO of Matterport as the former CEO, Bill Brown, moves into an advisory role. I looked for more info about RJ and why Matterport chose him, and according to David Gosbeck, Matterport's chief tech officer, RJ's experience at scale, paired with his entrepreneurial DNA and deep product vision, will be instrumental to unlocking the full potential of our breakthrough technology and unparalleled 3D media and data. Aside from his experience as an entrepreneur and product developer, he also has experience in real estate projects that were done in the US and the UK, which I think gives him perspective on the real estate industry as a whole and a good sense of how prop tech is going to affect it. I also checked out Pittman's LinkedIn, and from what I understand, he's great at brand building and e-commerce, which is for sure something that any 3D modeling company is going to need to double down on in this next decade. So the move obviously caught attention across the industry, but it was hard to know what to make of it at the time. But almost 2 months later, I think I have an idea of where he's going to steer Matterport with their most recent announcement. I mentioned in the previous episode that one of Matterport's biggest downfalls was keeping photographers under their thumb for everything when it comes to data ownership and their capturing methods. But I think that might be changing. They recently announced a new AI image processing tech called Cortex on their website. With Cortex, Matterport models can be made with regular 360 cameras. According to the announcement, Cortex has trained on billions of 3D data points captured in Matterport Cloud to construct stunning Matterport 3D models from two-dimensional images captured with spherical lens cameras, commonly known as 360 cameras. So now people won't have to buy their huge proprietary cameras to make Matterport models. I can just use the 360 camera that I already have, the Ricoh Theta V, and I think the Insta-1X is also on that list. So it looks like Pittman is taking the company in a more modern direction as it gives more power to the user, which I think is expected to some degree with the kinds of companies that we have today that give people more control. It's great for people who want to get into the industry but don't have thousands of dollars for an upfront investment. You can spend maybe, I think this cost me about $400 at the time. But the people who already bought the Matterport cameras recently or have been using Matterport for a while since they came out with their devices are pissed. I came across this video the other day by a realtor and Matterport partner from San Diego, George Kenner, and it's apparent that he and other Matterport providers aren't happy. In this video, he goes over some issues that he had with Matterport, along with the news that Matterport was opening up its system to third-party cameras.
Can you see that? It's a Matterport in the trash. You're never going to guess what happened today. What a wild day it's been for Matterport and every Matterport service provider. Today, Matterport announced something that is probably not beneficial to all the people that spent thousands of dollars on their cameras, and here's why. This is called a Theta 360. It manufactures a spherical picture, but without turning around and not quite in the same resolution as a Matterport camera. But Matterport is now going to take their proprietary software that allows you to build a Matterport model and use it from this camera. So in my case, I spent about $5,000 for my Matterport camera. At the same time, I bought this Theta 360 because I wanted to be able to do outside shots, which was something that at the time Matterport didn't provide. Now they do provide that. So what they did was they figured out how to take the information from this camera and manufacture models. So anyone's going to be able to go out and now manufacture a Matterport for this. But how about all those guys that spent $5,000? You think they're a little cranky?
I'll admit, I laughed a little bit when I saw the Matterport Fire intro with the music because I thought he was being a little dramatic, but the video is a good one and the guy definitely knows what he's talking about. Luckily, this video did gain some traction and got some comments, so now we have some more context as to what other people are feeling. Most of the comments are negative, with one strong comment calling for some to calm down or that they should have expected this. The guy with the positive comment views this as Matterport protecting service providers' investments because if a competitor came up with similar tech, it would make the Matterport Pro a brick overnight anyway, and says that you could actually use a smaller camera with a Matterport camera to fix things like scans prevented by sunlight or hiding the camera in a bathroom mirror. I just watched a video from Metroplex 360 that had someone doing just that to fill in a hole in the 3D model prevented by sunlight, and it was pretty cool, but I didn't get to see if the quality was inconsistent, as I think it would be when you use the walkthrough mode. I thought what he said was a good point, that this doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom, but it got me asking, what's the quality difference between these cameras? Because in my experience, I know that a Ricoh Theta picture won't be as crisp as a picture stitched from a DSLR, so I thought there has to be a difference in quality between a Ricoh and a specialized proprietary camera that has one purpose. Now, when I first saw it, I was impressed with how connected the model looked from the 3D model view, but I was right about the quality. Right away, I could see the noise created from the Ricoh that you don't see in a Matterport device captured model. Granted, the guy who did make this tour was testing it out, so I'm not sure how much consideration he put into lighting, HDR, and noise reduction, but there is definitely a quality difference. That alone makes me a little weary of existing providers being able to combine the use of a Matterport Pro along with a point-and-shoot 360 camera like the one commenter suggested. In the video, as Kenner is talking about the other problems he's had with Matterport, he mentioned that they claim Matterport is a system rather than a camera at heart, but that they also decided to make hardware. The Matterport camera is great, but this change to their software makes it easier to upgrade the hardware by just buying the latest and greatest 360 camera, and it gets them a leg up trying to compete with up-and-comers like GeoCV.
The camera, the user agreement wasn't presented to me. In fact, I didn't get a copy of my user agreement until almost a year later, when I found out that there were some limitations in the way that the issue could be used. It was explained to me Matterport was not a camera, it was a system. Yet still they called it a camera. Now look what they've done. And I feel your pain. I'm not real pleased at the way Matterport has performed. It reminds me of their last debacle where they wanted to claim ownership of our models and sell them to some other company and contact the people that we'd already done the Matterports for. And I know that happened. I talked to the CEO twice. One time on a Saturday when he called me crying, "Please, George, get in the forum, tell people to take this down. You know, we're gonna work it out." Well, I'll tell you. This could be, you know, an opportunity for some other company, if they've got the product, to introduce, because there's no reason for me to stick with Matterport.
Being future-proof is one of the things that one of Matterport's competitors, GeoCV, prides themselves on. And I mean, they allowed themselves to be, because the only thing they would have to completely rebuild would be the pano head if they had developed new functionalities for it. They could update the system without making service providers buy new hardware. And GeoCV doesn't make the smartphones, so the service providers can just buy the newest phone if they want to and not be stuck with an expensive and outdated device. I think being able to publish Matterport branded projects with non-Matterport devices just proves how 3D models are more of a platform rather than something you can patent. And so this new move makes the GeoCV legal battle make less and less sense to me. So now I'm wondering if they're going to give up on it if they don't run GeoCV out of resources first, which I think is one of their things that they're trying to do. Because now Matterport is an option for photographers on the same table as Cupix, Pano2 VR, you name it. Regardless, I'm hoping the legal battle just ends and both companies can carry on. I'm really glad that right now we have two companies vying for the top spot in 3D modeling, because competition breeds excellence. Because if someone one-ups you, you have to come up with something better or watch them take your business. The threat of competition is going to push virtual tours and 3D modeling into really amazing places, and I can't wait to see that. And I think it's important to keep that competition going. I also really want to know how the legal battle is turning out, or what's come of it as of now, but I haven't heard anything solid on it yet, but when I do, you'll see it here. So that's all I got for today. I want to know what your thoughts are about what's going on here. What do you make of Matterport making their system more accessible across more devices? Do you think Matterport will keep pushing the lawsuit even after the introduction of Cortex and Matterport 3.0 cloud? Let me know in the comments, and also correct me if I miscommunicated something or if I have something wrong. On my last video, I had some people offer constructive criticism on the way I pronounced GUI, GUI. and also how I explained the Matterport shooting process briefly, and I really appreciate that feedback, and I'm always willing to listen. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this. If you want to stay updated on the industry or the GOCV Matterport lawsuit, I'll ask you to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. As always, have a wonderful day, and for the Aspect VR News, I'm Rafael Renteria, signing off.